Hello, I'm Dr. William Richardson of the Atlanta Clinic of Preventive Medicine, the full-service family practice and preventive medicine clinic in Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia. I want to talk today about colds and flu. The cold syndrome is a collection of signs and symptoms. That's what a syndrome is. And it can be caused by a specific cold virus, which one can be susceptible to by a compromised immune system. It is also associated with mucus accumulating states, which can be brought on by excess intake of dairy products, for instance. There's also the mucus outpouring type of problems that can be second to environmental conditions such as toxic gas, toxic waste causing excess mucus. And that, of course, will be encouraged or set up by an excess mucus producing diet, which we'll explain. An excess mucus producing diet would include a diet with excess meats and dairy products. The protein, concentrated protein, is digested in the stomach by acid, and cow's milk, for instance, has 3 to 4 times more protein than human milk. What happens is the protein from the milk is digested by acid in the stomach, and the stomach protects itself by an outpouring of mucus, which reflexes into the whole system. And the intake of cow's milk is associated with colds, susceptibility to ear infections, bronchitis. That, coupled with environmental problems such as cigarette smoke from parents, can cause a major upset in the internal environment, bringing on colds and encouraging flus. Colds and flus are distinct but separate, usually upper respiratory infections triggered by absolutely different viruses. These conditions are associated with a weakened immune system. For instance, outdoor environment such as drafts, wetness, and temperature changes can encourage the immune system to be weakened and therefore let these viruses attack the individual. Behavior factors such as smoking and poor nutrition can be associated with the manifestation of colds and flus. Emotional factors, poor stress management, depression, not getting proper rest, which is very, very important, can also cause a weakened immune system. That's why many people take supplements if they have to work harder than usual. Supplements such as Oxyperm, which we sell here at our clinic, which includes beta-carotene, N-acetylcysteine, ginkgo, bioflavonoids, zinc, selenium, vitamin C, vitamin E, and that's a very comprehensive antioxidant formula. Then we have the various vitamins, vitamin C, powder, and tablet, which we'll talk about later. These are the types of things that you would be taking to counteract negative emotional factors, behavior factors. As you know, cigarettes, one cigarette knocks out 15 milligrams of vitamin C every time one smokes a cigarette. Or if you're going to be working in a drafty area or the outdoors, you have to be encouraged to know what supplements to take. Viruses can penetrate the body's protective barriers, namely for colds, the nose, the eyes, and the mouth, and for the flu, usually the respiratory tract, including the lung and the throat. Colds and flus, as I said, were distinct entities. Colds usually have a slow onset, whereas flus have a swift and severe onset. Colds don't have much prostration, which means not feeling well, and great tiredness, whereas flus can give you great tiredness and what we call malaise, which is just not feeling well. Local symptoms are the norm with colds, such as hoarseness, runny nose, and sneezing, whereas flus give generalized symptoms such as chills, depression, mentally and physically, body aches, strong body aches. Colds give mild fatigue and weakness, whereas flus give more extreme fatigue, sometimes lasting for 2, 3, or more weeks, which goes into the chronic fatigue syndrome. That's why when you have colds and flus, especially flus, you want to handle it right initially or early so that it does not develop into the chronic fatigue syndrome. In colds, you have some coughing, some sore, burning throat, where flus, you have severe hacking coughing and occasional sore throats. Remember, these are distinct viruses that attack the body during a weakened immune state. This is how I clinically assess or make judgments about patients who present to my office complaining of symptoms of colds and flus. For one thing, we have an office visit with the history of present illness, and then physical examination is necessary. Yes, also what we assess is lifestyle factors, which are very important. Dietary patterns, what you've been eating for the last month before you got the cold or flu. How much fluid have you been taking? Do you smoke? Do you drink alcohol? Do you drink spring water? How's the sleeping and rest patterns and exercise patterns? And what is your elimination history? If one is eliminating with bowel movements 2 or 3 times a week, you're going to have a worse time with colds and flus because of all the poison that's accumulated in the colon. And then, of course, we'll do laboratory assessment as necessary. Monospot test, Epstein-Barr virus antibodies, strep screen for the throat, etc. as necessary. The goals of treatment. Okay, we're going to talk about that. We're done with the lecture part of this. Now we're going to get into the goals of treatment and the actual treatment of colds and flus. Now, as you know, medical science has no real cure for the colds or flus. There are viral vaccines, antiviral vaccines for the flu now that one would have to take yearly. Many people do not want to take vaccines. There were problems with the swine flu vaccine epidemic causing problems like Guillain-Barré syndrome, a chronic, unrelenting neurological problem from a vaccine for the flu. There are no vaccines for the colds, and there's many, many viruses that can cause the cold. They're just waiting to jump on a weakened immune system. So our goals of treatment, number one, is to decrease and shorten the duration of symptoms and signs of the cold and flu. Sometimes these problems can be eliminated in less than 24 hours or even overnight with the proper manipulation of the body, getting rid of the toxins quickly, and the immune system. Again, I want to repeat that sometimes these symptoms can be eliminated in less than 24 hours and sometimes overnight with the proper manipulation of the body's elimination systems and immune system. And we're going to get into those particulars. I'll give you a lot of hints in the following few minutes. Also, our goal of treatment, besides shortening the duration and decreasing the intensity of symptoms and signs, is to build the immune system up, especially by nutrition and proper rest. There are certain principles of treatment that have to be stated. Basic principles of treatments for the colds and flu have to include adequate rest. You have to get enough rest. You may have to take off work. You may have to really relax for a day or two and get your energy accumulated again. Fresh air as much as possible. Plenty of pure water. Pure water can include natural spring water, such as this brand. There's many brands that are legitimate. Distilled water and filtered water are other alternatives. You want to keep yourself well hydrated because of the feverishness and actual fevers of the cold flu. You want to hopefully get some sunshine. Many times we live in temperate environments that have a lot of clouds, but if you can, get some sunshine. And then finally, use vitamins and nutrition and healthy lifestyle to help ward off colds and flus, and if ill, to speed recovery. Again, using vitamins, nutrients, and foods to ward off or even prevent colds and flus. We mentioned water, and for the early acute stages of the colds or flus, again, we want to stress plenty of pure water. Very important. We're 70% water. We need water to eliminate the poisons and toxins as well. And also that'll help pull out the excess bowel that may have accumulated from constipation. Secondly, very, very important principle to know for colds and flus, because a lot of people cannot eat salads then. They may not be able to eat certain foods, but there's certain things that one must intake, or you're going to need to go to the hospital and get an IV or something. That's water, and that's vegetable broth. Now, vegetable broth is basically taking potassium and mineral-rich potatoes with the skin still on them, chopping them up, putting them in a large container, large pot, and adding chopped green vegetables, again with the minerals, carrots, celery, especially celery because of the natural sodium in celery, seaweed because of the minerals that one may miss from especially vomiting or diarrhea and whatnot. And then bringing these constituents to a boil, a lot of times adding vegetable bouillon and letting it simmer for 20 or 30 minutes. Then what we get is vegetable broth. If you can see there's sediment at the bottom of this vegetable broth, and that's the minerals that replenish the body. And sometimes you can imagine minerals are key to health. They're like a spark plug, and what they do is go right into your cells and give it that spark of life. Sometimes it can give you the energy you need to keep going. Vegetable broth, so easily assimilatable and digestible to the body. You're getting all of the nutrients of these vegetables without having to go through the digestive process, which you may not be able to do when you have a cold or flu. Okay. Other than vegetable broth and water, I want to stress natural juices. Now, natural juices are probably best diluted with spring water. Fresh juice is best. Now, if you're going to use orange juice, your stomach has to be able to handle the citrus, and not everyone can during these types of illnesses. But many a person has manipulated their immune system to eliminate a cold or onset of a flu by drinking a lot of orange juice, and that's quite possible. That's done. Here we have grapefruits, preferably ruby red grapefruits, because that red color is also an immune intensive nutrient. The red grapefruit, the red color in the red grapefruit. What you can do, you can make juice of these, you can eat these. These are usually digestible easily. However, some people may not be able to digest citrus, so you have to listen to your own body. And you can listen to it because animals listen to it when they're sick. They know when to fast, when to chew grass, when to just drink water. They do that innately. Also, we have the Granny Green apple, which is higher in vitamin C than the other apples, for one thing. Sometimes apples can be difficult to digest, and you may just want to chew this and then spit out the solid part if you need to. So there's a lot of ways you can do this. And another possibility are herbal teas, which can have very good medicinal properties, such as this relaxing tea. This is just one example. If you feel a little bit nervous or you need to just cool out, here the ingredients include chamomile, valerian root, which are basically herbs that relax the nervous system. Then we have rose hips, which are high in natural vitamin C, licorice root, which is good for the immune system and it's also good for mucous membranes, aloe vera, which we all know is good for the immune system, and hibiscus flower, which is a very good flavoring entity and is also a good medicinal herbal. Then we have things like ginger flower, organic peppermint, ginger root, licorice, cinnamon, hibiscus, cloves, and nutmeg, and honey. Of course, the ginger root is going to be excellent for stomach and gastrointestinal problems. The cinnamon is also good for gastrointestinal problems. This is the licorice. The peppermint is going to be good to open up the mucous membranes, and also for digestive problems. Cloves, good for digestion. Okay? Then we have just straight peppermint tea, which is great for digestion and mucous membranes. There's also, I want to swing the camera over this way and take a look at some other possibilities for teas. Throat coat tea is going to be excellent for sore throats and for coughs because it has the main ingredient, slippery elm. Slippery elm is a herb that soothes the mucous membranes. This is a powder form that the company Nature's Sunshine has. Then we have various cough syrups. One may need a medicinal cough syrup or a pharmacological cough syrup if necessary for severe coughing. But many times one can use one of the many natural cough syrups. This one includes honey, distilled water, loquat leaf, mullein, almond nut, balloon flower, snake ground seed, licorice root, desert tea herb, and natural mint flavoring. Very good product here. Another possibility, of course, are cough drops. There's many natural cough drops that are out. And these are just some of the herbals that can be used, and we will be mentioning more. Green drinks is another possibility, such as the barley green and whatnot. That's going to be easily digestible and easily admitted to the body. Another green drink that's excellent is wheatgrass juice. At the Atlanta Clinic of Preventive Medicine, we have a lot of handouts that we give for educational purposes, and this is our wheatgrass juice handout. This can be taken orally, by the mouth that is, and also can be taken by enema. And I want to talk about rapid detox of enema. First, I want to also say that one should be avoiding milk at this time, especially cow's milk. Almond milk, rice milk may be permissible depending on the condition of the body. Soy milk probably should be avoided at this particular time of sickness. Now, let's look at this bag here. This is an example of a high enema bag. This can be used especially if constipation is a factor. No bowel movement for 1 to 3 days before the onset of the cold. This removes sources of solid and gaseous toxins in the bowel. This frees the immune system up. The body's energy does not have to go to preventing your own reaction to your own internal poisons. This is a key to rapid manipulation of the immune system and getting rid of the cold or flu symptoms overnight sometimes. Many patients, many folks I know have used the enema, the water, the vegetable broth soup, certain teas, and certain foods to encourage a rapid onset of improvement, a very rapid, quickening way of getting rid of the cold and flu. Yes, I want to just mention a few of the different types of enemas that can be taken. A very popular one and a very good one is the lemon juice enema, where one would take about a half a gallon of water and squeeze in 1/2 to 1 whole lemon and put the juice in the water. Stir it up. Sometimes you want to slightly warm the water up toward room temperature, but it has to be very, very mild. The lemon water should be strained as well to get rid of the solid material. Another possibility, a good cleanser for parasites and for the bowel in general, is the garlic enema, where you would blend 1 or 2 garlic bulbs into each bag or 1 quart of the enema water. You can also put nervine herbs into, you can make a herbal tea, for instance, and put into the enema bag, such as catnip, valerian tea. This Relax Me tea would also be adequate. And in fact, enema is so effective that absorption of constituents, if you take a garlic enema, within seconds you will taste the garlic in your mouth. That's how quickly it spreads through the bloodstream. When one takes an enema, you're taking it basically to rid the body of toxins. And we also have a great enema handout lent to us by one of our friends in California, which we have available. Once you get the toxic substances out of your system, you do not want to put them in. The last thing you want to do when you have a cold is to eat junk food, candy, cakes, donuts. That can make you much sicker, lower the immune system, and they're absolutely not necessary. One must have ultimate nutritional discipline when you're fighting a cold or flu. You do not want to take a step backwards. Also, as I mentioned, fresh fruit and vegetable juices are very, very good for those who can drink them, and a lot of times you can dilute the fruit juices with water. You want to pay attention to food combining. Here's a book called Food Combining Made Easy. Also, here's a chart that I just want to mention certain principles of food combining, especially in light of the colds and flu. One thing that you should be encouraged to do is to make that vegetable broth, which is going to take all the minerals and many of the vitamins of these vegetables and put it into a broth form, which is easily digestible. Certain fruits would be a very good bet for you, especially some of the citrus like the strawberry, the grapefruit, the orange, in the juice form or the whole fruit. Sometimes that may be too acidic for the system, and again, you have to know your own body and listen to it. Sweet fruits would be another good choice. The darker grapes, of course, have the pycnogenol in it, and there was a book called The Grape Cure, where they said chew the darker grapes and spit out the grapes, the solid part, if you couldn't swallow it. Bananas probably would not be a good choice because they're so starchy and can slow the system's elimination, but that has to be judged. Starches in general, if one is extremely hungry during the cold, or especially the convalescent period, there's nothing like a baked potato or a baked sweet yam, especially with the beta carotene in the yam. If you can handle it, that can be a very good food for you. Proteins are foods that would have to be carefully consumed, if at all. I would avoid flesh and dairy foods at that particular time of colds and flus. Sprouts would be a good choice for some people if they can digest the raw vegetables. Nuts and seeds and beans and whatnot could be a problem during a cold and flu. So one has to know these things in order to be effective in ridding themselves of these problems. The bottom line is to eat light. Now, this book talks about a lot of raw food, and raw food may not be for you during colds and flus. Again, you want to stress the broth and the water and things. Steamed vegetables can be a good choice. Baked foods can be a very good choice because they're easily digestible, sometimes more easily than raw foods. So it just depends. Okay, now I want to talk about certain nutritional supplements to take for the early stage of the cold or flu. For one thing, vitamin C is a mainstay. This is a bottle of vitamin C tablets with rose hips. This is 1,000 milligrams, and one should be encouraged for adults to take anywhere from 4 to 14 grams of vitamin C per day. Now of course, vitamin C, as you know, strengthens the immune system and builds connective tissue, makes the barriers of the body stronger, and it's just one of the number one things that we need to take. Our ancestors, remember, took plenty of vitamin C in the form of fresh fruit every morning. That's how we evolved. The buffered vitamin C powder is a good alternative. One may use a quarter teaspoon every half hour as desired. Now, vitamin C, you can take enough vitamin C, it's pretty much not toxic except to the GI tract. If you just take grams and grams of it, that's like 20 to 30 grams of vitamin C a day, you may start to have some diarrhea and whatnot, but 4 to 14 grams, pretty much you're not going to have any symptoms, any negative symptoms. So vitamin C is one of the main things that everybody knows to take for a cold, and I just wanted to mention how to do it. As I mentioned earlier, Oxyperm is a great choice because of the zinc, all of the constituents in Oxyperm. It is it is the best antioxidant I've ever found, we like to keep it in. We can't keep it in sometimes because it's so popular. This is a very good low allergy producing vitamin complex. Occasionally you may want to take a vitamin. Now, a full daily dose of this is 6 capsules with extra needs for nutritional support, and 2 capsules just for someone with a high quality diet. Now, if you have a cold, you do not want to get too many B vitamins in your system because you're not going to be able to back that up with a lot of eating at that time. One may, let's say if they're very protracted, very weak, may take 1 or 2 of these a day. Sometimes you can just sprinkle a little in some juice and take it. So it just depends. Some of us have become very good artists at taking care of ourselves. I want to re-emphasize vitamin C's importance. This is going to be much more important than a multiple vitamin. And the difference between buffered vitamin C and regular vitamin C is that buffered vitamin C is low acid, and therefore you can take a lot more of it, a lot more milligrams of it. This is basically buffered by calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, and potassium carbonate, which is also going to give you extra calcium and magnesium and potassium, which are very good for the system, and will help calm the nerves, all those sorts of things. So I want to emphasize that this is a very good product to take, although many people just prefer taking the pill and it's easy to carry and whatnot. I also want to swing the camera over towards some other things that can be taken. For one thing, echinacea is another product. Now this is a combination with echinacea, zinc, bioflavonoids, and ascorbic acid. I want to also mention bioflavonoids are found in the white part of citrus fruits, and the white part of citrus fruits should be encouraged to eat. Not the skin, but the very white part under the skin. Echinacea, in many studies throughout the world, has been shown to boost the immune system. And this is very important for colds. As soon as one feels a cold coming on, vitamin C and echinacea are 2 things that should be taken. Nature's Sunshine, which is a company we use, makes an immune shield, which has Chinese herbs, vitamin C. It has capsules of immune Chinese combination and herpes Chinese combination, which is an antiviral. These are really, really good to take. They're very nourishing to the immune system and boost the immune system as well, in completely different mechanisms than the vitamin C and the echinacea. Another product called Defense Maintenance, which all 3 of these products are contained in this convenient Ziploc packet of herbal packets, which one can carry with them to work and whatnot. Defense Maintenance has cruciferous vegetables, which, as you know, include broccoli, cabbage, asparagus, etc., as well as vitamins and other minerals to give you defense for the immune system. Other herbals that should be known about include ephedra. Ephedra or moahang is a herb. It's where they got Sudafed from. What this does is open up the breathing passages of the nose and the upper respiratory tract. This is called SN-X. This is used for adults 2-3 times a day. This is an excellent alternative to drugs that open up the nose. Then we have garlic. Garlic can be taken in the enema form. It can be put into the vegetable broth, as we mentioned, making vegetable broth earlier. Garlic can be taken as whole capsules. It can be, the actual garlic food can be put into soups. Garlic is a natural antibiotic and an antifungal, and I believe you will find that this helps aid the body's defense against a cold, but one has to know when and how to use it. And you would not want to take this first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. You would want to drink your water first, maybe drink some vegetable broth soup and get your GI system going, and then take something like garlic. Golden seal has been shown to be a natural antibiotic. It's also an antifungal as well. Golden seal is also great for the respiratory tract. Let me tell you about a formula that one of my friends showed me a long time ago. Take 2 cups of peppermint tea. Take about 4 capsules of this golden seal, or 1 heaping teaspoon. Put in the tea, add juice of 1 lemon, and add honey to taste. What this will do is bring up a lot of mucus and cold and encourage your body's healing.
Pass it out.
Other important entities include different mixtures and exotic things you can take, such as the rainforest toddy. This will give you a lot of energy. Basically, this is a supplement that contains 60 organic plant-derived colloidal minerals. This is an easily assimilatable product. It also has rainforest herbals, which are going to help your immune system. Whereas on the other hand, this is another so-called toddy, which means mixture of a health-giving drink. And this is called oxytoddy, which many of you may have heard of hydrogen peroxide therapy. And this does have hydrogen peroxide, thereby high oxygen content, as well as the herbals. And this is a great tasting supplement. Then I want to move along, besides the upper respiratory tract, like the SNX with the ephedra and the mullein and the marshmallow root and those other herbals. Then we have lower respiratory tract, such as LH, which is going to also contain ephedra and marshmallow root and catnip. What this does is calm the cough reflexes and the lung responses to mucus, yet encourages the expulsion of mucus. Lung formula, very good for stopping abnormal coughing. Of course, if you have coughing too long and you've been a smoker, we need to check a chest x-ray. ALJ is a herbal that has horseradish, which is going to encourage the expulsion of mucus from deep within the lung area. This is a very good product, and should be used in conjunction with the slippery elm, the throat lozenges, and the cough syrups. Many times a health professional who knows the herbals can advise you on an individual basis of which to use. I want to go on and mention rest. As we said, rest is very, very important for combating colds and flus. We have to go to bed early so that we can wake up early with energy. Many times our circadian rhythms are off. I've had to work some time at night as a physician in a hospital, and then my circadian rhythm will be off. Melatonin is a natural supplement that is used to set the circadian rhythm correct and get you to bed on time. And it can be used temporarily, with success, and without side effect. That's a natural sleep aid. It's non-addictive. Also, we have herbal sleep aids, such as hops, valerian, skullcap. These herbs can be used in a tea form. These are concentrated capsules that are available. The combination 8 is an anti-stress formula. It contains cayenne pepper. The HVS does not. Sometimes we use that to differentiate which we will give the client. Then a natural pain and really fever formula as well would be the APS2, which has natural aspirin, white willow bark. That's where acetylsalicylic acid, which is aspirin, was originally derived from, as well as valerian root and other relaxing and anti-pain herbs with some cayenne pepper. Well, that's a lot of herbs and a lot of products that can be used just for the colds and flus. Many times one can go to certain health food stores. Natural health food stores are very essential part of our society now. They offer us an alternative, and they should be supported in each neighborhood that you may belong to. Some of the health food stores that I've been very blessed to shop in and be a part of include Life's Essential Market, which has moved to a new, larger location, the heart of Southwest Atlanta, at Benjamin E. Mays and Cascade. Rainbow Natural Foods and Restaurant, which is on Decatur Road in Decatur, very wonderful store. Sevenanda Cooperative in the heart of Atlanta, and then Return to Eden on Cheshire Bridge Road, which is a very large and fully stocked health food store. There's a few others, and I don't have time to mention them all, but I encourage you to check them out. Okay, now I want to mention there's a general cleansing I've been talking about. That is a cleansing diet, one that doesn't have a lot of mucus producing foods such as cow's milk, one that encourages the cleansing process of the upper respiratory tract as well as the colon, sometimes even using an enema. There are herbs that induce cleansing of the body, such as lower bowel stimulator 2 and the special formula 1. These herbals actually encourage bowel movements and expulsion of poisons from the body. They would not be the herbs to use during an acute cold or flu syndrome. But one should have used these herbs, for many people anyway, should have used these herbs throughout the year intermittently for their natural cleansing and fasting process. Which, what I'm trying to say is, if you've used a good cleansing program sometime before you've gotten a cold, you're going to have much less symptoms because your body's not going to be full of a lot of toxins sitting there when your body doesn't function right, thereby causing poisons to go up into the system and discouraging the immune system. Okay, well, let's move on now. There are other things that we can talk about, other herbs. I should mention astragalus and ginseng are herbs that can up the immune system and give energy. They have to be taken with plenty of fluid and whatnot so that you don't damage yourself. You have to know what to do, and believe it or not, many of our ancestors knew exactly what to do because the herbs were right there, and they could tell you what herb to take for almost any ailment that they would come up across. And a lot of that knowledge has been lost and refound. We want to mention stress management. We want to mention abdominal breathing, yoga, meditation, prayer, stretching, some muscle building as possible. I think that's very important. Also want to mention some things that we do that are a little bit special here at the Atlanta Clinic of Preventive Medicine, and that's IV therapy. What we do is give patients megadoses of vitamin C, glutamine, magnesium, trace elements, B vitamins, etc., etc., etc. And many times they've been found that this can help them whip a cold, give them more energy. We also have other various IVs which have very specific uses that we can administer as necessary. I want to stress that what we're talking about here is a holistic management program for colds and flus. One can go to the drugstore and try all these different brands, Theraflu, NyQuil, a lot of which have a lot of alcohol, artificial colors, made a lot of times by people who just want to encourage you to spend your money and really haven't put a lot of thought into the product that they're making. There's rows and rows and rows of these types of products in drugstores. And guess what? That means that no one's going to know about all of the types of things that we've been talking about today, and that means that this knowledge has been relatively suppressed, just put down, because it would discourage the use of more expensive drugs made by drug companies, etc. So if one knows basic principles, and the healthier one is to begin with by knowing basic principles, the less money it will cost to get rid of the colds. Whereas if one has a lot of bad dietary habits, smokes, drinks alcohol, doesn't exercise, etc., doesn't get their adequate rest, it's going to cost more money and going to take more effort. But one should always include the natural holistic treatment modalities in their program to rid themselves or prevent colds and flus. Do not just depend on medicinals and the drug-orientated therapies. I might add that sore throats that are very severe should be examined by a physician, because 30% of sore throats are caused by strep, and if strep throat is not properly treated with antibiotics, then one may get kidney disease and heart disease that is rather permanent. If you have a very high protracted fever, you need to make sure you're seen by a doctor. If you have a hacking cough or deep cough that doesn't go away, you need to be seen by the doctor. Maybe go to the emergency room, get a chest x-ray, make sure you don't have pneumonia. So the true holistic medicine encourages the use of any modality, any system, any school of thought. So I want to end with saying, here's to your health. This is Dr. William Richardson of the Atlanta Clinic of Preventive Medicine. Thank you for your attention, and have a great day.